There was a moment worth remembering last week, one for the big book of history. It was a matter of a few minutes' duration in the House of Commons when Conservative MP for North West Leicestershire, Andrew Bridgen, spoke about harms caused by the products marketed as COVID vaccines and called for their complete suspension because of, and I quote, clear and robust data of significant harms and little ongoing benefit. He referred to peer-reviewed research by cardiologist Dr. Aseem Malhotra, who has described the rollout of the BioNTech Pfizer product as, quote, perhaps the greatest miscarriage of medical science, attack on democracy, damage to population health and erosion of trust in medicine that we will witness in our lifetime. Strong stuff indeed. As I say, it was quite a moment. He said a great deal about 500,000 yellow card reports of adverse effects, about a journalist from a major news outlet who told him about being bombarded with calls from people hurt by the jabs, how that journalist thought it the biggest scandal in medical history in this country, but feared that if he were to say as much in his newsroom, he would lose his job. He spoke about how reanalysis of Pfizer's own data, published in peer-reviewed journal Vaccine, showed one serious adverse effect for every 800 jabs given, about how other medical products have been completely withdrawn after far lower incidence of harm. He mentioned the withdrawal of the swine flu jab in 1976 after Guillain-Barré syndrome was caused by it in just 1 in every 100,000, and the rotavirus jab taken off the market after causing a form of bowel obstruction in 1 in every 10,000 children. He said the benefits of the vaccine were close to non-existent. He talked about members of the JCVI having huge financial links to the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, running into billions of pounds. He quoted the former editor of the BMJ, Richard Smith, who said in 2016 that medical research misconduct was rife. Quote, something is rotten in British medicine and has been for a long time, he said. He quoted Richard Houghton, editor-in-chief of The Lancet, who said in 2015, quote, science has taken a turn towards darkness. Bridgen concluded, we have already sacrificed far too many of our citizens on the altar of ignorance and unfettered corporate greed. Mr. Bridgen's statement was memorable. What made it feel like history in the making, though, lay in the response by Maria Caulfield, Parliamentary Under-Secretary of State at the Department of Health and Social Care. She didn't speak for as long, but her words were every bit as unequivocal. There is no doubt in my mind that the thing that made the biggest difference in combating COVID was the introduction of the vaccine, she said. It's important to put on the record that all the vaccines used in the UK are safe, she said. I completely debunk the conspiracy theories about a whole group of people benefiting financially from the rollout of the vaccine, she said. It seems reasonable to me to say that it's not possible that the two entirely different realities described last week in the House of Commons by Bridgen and Caulfield respectively can both exist at the same time in an honest and rational universe. What was exposed in that chamber was not a difference of opinion, but two mutually exclusive worldviews. In short, one of them has got it badly, badly wrong. Since they were each in their turn describing decisions and policies relating to the lives and deaths of billions of people, the stakes could hardly be higher. I say again, one of them has got it badly, badly wrong. It's the same story on the other side of the Atlantic. Last week, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis announced his plan to set up a statewide grand jury to investigate any wrongdoing regarding the rollout of the so-called vaccines. Chief Medical Advisor to the President, Dr. Anthony Fauci, then responded to the DeSantis statement saying, I don't have a clue what he's asking for. We have a vaccine that unequivocally is highly effective and safe and has saved literally millions of lives. Again, as is the case here in the UK, one of them has got it badly, badly wrong. What I have been wondering for a while, though, and which was neatly illustrated by those exchanges in Parliament and in the US, is whether the stakes are actually so high regarding what was done during the past 2 years that there's an intention to deny the people the truth for many years to come. I wonder, in fact, if what has happened in the name of COVID-19, the vast scale of it all, the necessary consequences in the event of Bridgen's side of the argument being proved correct, drives an attempt to encase the COVID event with an impenetrable denial until every last person involved is dead. What is being alleged about the so-called vaccines is of monumental importance. What Bridgen and Malhotra have claimed ought to be the biggest story in the country, in the world, and yet anyone interested in familiarising themselves with most of what was said has to go looking for it online. Bridgen noted withdrawals of those other medical products when their safety was credibly questioned. That's the world I thought we lived in, where doubt voiced in the face of credible research leads to the pausing of a course of action and a rethink. And yet here we are, with peer-reviewed research demonstrating 1 in every 100 people receiving the Pfizer jab suffers a serious reaction, and medical professionals of unimpeachable credentials urging at least a pause in the rollout, if not a full and final stop. And still, the government-sponsored adverts are everywhere, in the mainstream and online, inviting people of all ages to take even more of the same product. Dr. Malhotra said on this channel last week, in relation to the Pfizer jab, quote, "The original trial data, which was reanalysed, suggested one was more likely to get serious adverse effects from the vaccine than one was to be hospitalised with COVID." What does that mean? It means if that is correct, which it seems to be, it should never have been approved in the first place. Questions have been asked all over the world about blood clotting and any possible connection with the AstraZeneca product. Countries across Europe have stopped using it, and it's no longer being given to people under 30 in the UK. It's worth noting that on Wednesday, Pascal Soriot, Chief Executive Officer of AstraZeneca, was knighted by King Charles for services to life sciences in a ceremony at Windsor Castle. All around the world, there is mounting evidence of deaths and injuries caused by the so-called vaccines. There are more and more excess deaths, people of all ages dying every day, deaths unrelated to COVID. Pause for a moment to consider the following. In the United States, in the second half of 2021, 61,000 Americans between the ages of 25 and 44 died of causes unrelated to COVID. The death toll of the same age group during the decade-long Vietnam War was 58,000. Here in the UK, at the start of the lockdown in 2020, in the week ending 23rd of March, there were 1,379 excess deaths. In the week ending 21st October this year, the figure was 1,822. There are more people dying every week now of causes unrelated to COVID than at the height of the pandemic. Daily, we were invited to look on in horror at the COVID death toll. Where is the outrage about these latest deaths? The round-the-clock coverage. Dr. John Campbell, a regular contributor to this channel, said last month in relation to the ONS data regarding those excess deaths, there is something pretty horrible going on. Over 1,800 deaths a week, more than we would expect, and it's been going on for a long time now, and we need an explanation. What we get instead is the relentless continuation of the rollout, the push to get boosted. Fauci in the US and others here in the UK say we're still in a pandemic. If that's true, it's the longest lasting pandemic in modern history, much longer than the Spanish flu pandemic at the end of the First World War. The concern being voiced now by Bridgen and Malhotra has been being shouted from the rooftops by many, many others for years. For as long as we've had the products marketed as vaccines, there have been voices asking questions, and those were silenced, derided, ridiculed, reputations ruined. Back in 1995, US physicist Carl Sagan demanded restless inquiry from all scientists. Science requires an almost complete openness to all ideas, he said. On the other hand, it requires the most rigorous and uncompromising scepticism. And so how did we get to where we are now? When did we set aside uncompromising scepticism and decide to live in a world in which we must, all of us, do precisely what we're told by our governments and their preferred experts without ever raising so much as a questioning voice? The chamber in which Bridgen made his speech was all but empty because, with a few exceptions, apparently none of the rest cared to listen to what he had to say about a course of action affecting tens of millions of lives here in the UK and billions around the world. Let's give the devil his due. Let's imagine many are daily in receipt of messages raising the alarm, but find their survival in the world of politics means they keep stum rather than rock the boat. I hear from other journalists saying they're in contact with MPs, with medical professionals, with high-profile media types, all of whom have decided now to stay well clear of the so-called vaccines. Some of those people have taken some jabs, some none. But the fear of speaking out, the culture of silence in the face of what so many know to be an egregious wrong, is enabling the narrative to persist largely unchallenged. The behaviour of governments and corporations in the last 2 or 3 years has changed the world. It might still look the same, more or less, but in all the ways that matter, it has been altered. Those who are awake to it all perceive a new reality and wonder how on earth they missed the signs for as long as they did. That all but empty House of Commons said loud and clear that the powers that be, the allied powers of governments and corporations, no longer feel the need to be answerable in any meaningful way to the people. Paradoxically, their absence from the chamber only made them more glaringly visible. The willful blindness about the vaccines is just the tip of the iceberg. Soaring excess deaths in all age groups, the complicated truth of the war in Ukraine still not openly discussed, the greatest transfer of wealth in the history of the world, the wholesale erosion of our rights, the nudge away from cash and towards central bank digital currencies. People are freezing in their homes and turning to food banks in what has been a first world country. Here's the thing, the near emptiness of that chamber was a moment of history, a warning about the future. If our MPs don't care enough about harms to populations around the world to turn up and listen to one of their own, then it's time we reminded the whole damned lot of them that we are still here. They might have their hands over their eyes, but we can see them. They keep their mouths shut, but the silence is deafening.
This is the moment that we stand up. This is the call. I pledge my allegiance. I pledge my allegiance. When we go to war with these demons, pledge my allegiance. I pledge my allegiance. Red, white, and blue, that's for freedom. Pledge my allegiance. I pledge my allegiance. Loyalty, honor, no treason. Pledge my allegiance. I pledge my allegiance. Red, white, and blue, that's for freedom. Pledge my allegiance. Patriot, brave, ain't no coward. We look to God for the power. This is our hour. Justice rains down like a shower. COVID-19 in the towers. This is his vengeance. There's no mercy, no repentance. There's no retreat, no forgiveness. When the storm comes, on grandma, the whole world will witness. It's personal, this is not business. This for the children. Children, they died and they suffer. So now we must ride for their mothers. My brother's brothers. And fear not, cause God got us covered. Both sides below and above us. Yeah. Lottie-dottie, a whole lot of bodies. No need to shed a tears, just the Illuminati. Look at the mainstream, lot of dead men, that's what I see. Fire and squad, a lethal injection, Ivy. Black Trump, young Kennedy, moving just like a centipede. Quantum Prime can't box me in, it's like it's 10 to me. I say the rap forgot when they ask me what got into me. Bible and the rifle make reality a memory. Shooters give him every shell, so you can go ahead and hope them well. I hope they burn in hell, half of Congress they sold for sale. Need Americana, great awakening is upon us. Need a few good men, I raise my hand and say that I'm a. My allegiance, I pledge my allegiance. I pledge my allegiance, I pledge my allegiance. Yeah. I pledge my allegiance. I pledge my allegiance. When we go to war with these demons, pledge my allegiance. I pledge my allegiance. Red, white, and blue, that's for freedom. Pledge my allegiance. Loyalty, honor, no treason. Pledge my allegiance. Red, white, and blue, that's for freedom. Pledge my allegiance. Weight of the world on my shoulders like heavy boulders. Biblical like Trump, Kennedy, Joseph, Jesus, and Moses, You can save the world from the COVID, did it for Noah, Hate me cause I found a COVID cure and they know it, Mr. President, we can take him down. I got the evidence, information was heaven sent. Pop the red pill, like it's medicine. Jen Flynn, Kim Clem, couldn't find better men. Army of the Lord, we trust in God, not the reverend. Vaccine like a bad dream, was Satan up in heaven. Not much different from 9/11. What? Decode Trump, lot of 7 trees, a virus we infected. God with us, so we protected. Same when they rejected, same when they selected. Never sleep, I'm not collected. One day America will wake up. The truth will rock the nations, the kingdom of hell will shake up. Take off the mask and the makeup. Patriots arise as one. Spirit, Father, God, and Son. Yes, this is the Lord's day. Donald Trump, the chosen one. We the people stand as one. They can never defeat us. Salute you in the name of Jesus. I pledge my allegiance. I pledge my allegiance. When we go to war with these demons, pledge my allegiance. I pledge my allegiance. Red, white, and blue, that's for freedom. Pledge my allegiance. I pledge my allegiance. Loyalty, honor, no treason. Pledge my allegiance. I pledge my allegiance. Red, white, and blue, that's for freedom. pledge my
A few minutes
allegiance.
before you came on the show, you went out and you took the American flag and you said, I'm proud of my nation. You raised it up. God said, you have been determined through your prayers to influence this nation. You're watching me, you're an influential person. The Spirit of God says, hear the word of the prophet to you as a king. I will open that door that you prayed about. And when it comes time for the election, you will be elected.
Mute, mic muted. Yes, we will win. There is no Rumble feed tonight. It told me it wasn't working after I'd already started, so I can't fucking sort that now. Anyway, no worries. That's all good. Loads going on. So much going on. A lot of confusion at the moment, but that's all good. Right. What do I want to do? I want to go like that and that. Put that on there. I'm going to share my screen. I think and just crack straight on with that, which will be there, like that. There's me, and there's me. Someone's joined me, some beaut. Yeah, let's go down here. Let's just, oh, the odds trends. Straight into Libs at TikTok. Clown World. I don't think these two think they are, but there we go. Straight in. From the Hodgkins, this would have been a funny parody skit like 10 years ago, but it's no parody. I did start watching this the other day, only managed 17 seconds, something like that. So I think it's 3 minutes. And then we shall crack on. Okie dokie.
80 of being a girl. Yes. And I'm with my all-time role model. This is the person that made
You're
me
my role model.
No, you're my role model.
No.
You inspired me to start making content. And so accept that.
Yes.
Okay.
I accept it.
This is Jeffrey Marsh.
Will you accept that you're an inspiration? And I love you very much.
Fine. Thank you. I love you very much. I have a little gift for you. My signature little sunglasses.
Hi.
Hi. This is Jeffrey. What are your pronouns?
They, them.
Okay. I'm she, they. And I wanted to know, as a non-binary human, do you have any relationship to the concept of girlhood?
I absolutely do. I find girlhood to be inspiring. There are a lot of human beings who are girls who transcend what their gender is supposed to be.
Yes,
And that to me is something I draw strength from and excitement from.
absolutely.
What you inspire me, the way that you inspire me, one of the ways, is that girlhood is this ultimate expression of humanity.
It's so much more than gender.
Yeah.
And I think what I would love is for there to be a place for specifically for non-binary people too, because I think we can't forget that non-binary people do have that divine feminine energy, and they deserve to be a part of girlhood too. Girlhood becomes
Yes.
stronger when there's more of us behind it.
Only certain people are allowed in, but who's allowing? That's the real question.
Who
Do
is?
you know?
I don't. Maybe there isn't one, and maybe that's
Maybe
the
there
beautiful
isn't one.
part of it. This is the longest video ever. How long have your pronouns been they, them? How long have you sort of?
I came out as they, them in 2013. So it has been a long time.
And have you seen a distinct shift in society since?
Absolutely. Yep.
In a positive way?
Yes. There's been a quieting of the whole argument. It's not grammatically correct. Like, that's basically quieted down quite a lot.
Yes.
But also, I love this newer revolution because of the pandemic, because of the last couple of years, of she, they, he, they.
Feels good.
And combining they with other pronouns, it's beautiful.
And I hope this is the start of a lifelong friendship. What do you think, people?
I love you all.
Okay. Oh, we got to do my signature. Okay. Okay, ready? Love ya!
Oh, there you go. Dinner at the White House next. What am I doing? Now, this is his doctor. The video I meant to play last week. This is another one that's speaking out. He's been.
Within 24 hours of posting my video, simply asking for an investigation into the safety of the COVID vaccines, I was contacted by 2 hospital groups and their medical directors asking me to stop any further social media post on this topic and to withdraw the video. I think this is medical censorship and an infringement of my freedom of speech, and also my duty of care as a doctor to speak up when I'm concerned about the safety of my patients. Please sign this petition if you support myself and doctors such as Dr. Asim Malhotra in speaking up for the sake of our patients, as all good doctors should.
Yeah, they all should. All good doctors should. Brian Cates, holy fucking shit. Pardon mon français, said Brian. They wargamed this whole laptop storage suppression strategy out at the Aspen Institute in September of 2020, and none of the participants leaked this in over 2 years. This is all this Yoel Roth and everyone. Day 4, Thursday, the Biden campaign adopting the policy of Hillary Clinton's This is all the stuff coming out on the Twitter files. Is incredible, really. There's a lot coming out. Michael Schellenberger on Twitter, in response to the Twitter files revelation of high-level FBI agents on Twitter, Jim Jordan said, I have concerns about whether the government was running a misinformation operation on we, the people. Yes, they were. Jim Jordan pretty much sums it up. The US government have been running a massive psychological disinformation operation against we the people. All the big private companies we assumed were free from government influence were actually just arms of the government, brainwashing virtually the entire planet. And 100, not all of us, and 100% of the brainwashing favoured the left-wing narratives and the DNC agenda. For the lefties that don't know the definition, this is textbook fascism. Oh yes, it is. Let's put the comments on. You can comment if you like, if anyone's watching. There is one. I'll see your January 6th arrest recommendation and raise you a Twitter Files Part 7. We've all got retweet, magnificent bastard. Twitter Files Part 7, the FBI and the Hunter Biden laptop. How the FBI and intelligence community discredited factual information about Hunter Biden's foreign business dealings, both after and before the New York Post revealed the contents of his laptop on October the 14th, 2020. So much stuff coming out in these Twitter files now. Elon Musk did a poll, didn't he, to see if should I step down as head of Twitter, I will abide the results of the poll, said Elon. And it pretty much looks like it was just another bot trap. So that's good. He has stated that there's no one to replace him at the moment. Lisa Grown, it's happening, my friends. Nearly 1,500 federal indictments have been opened in the last week. Only about 450,000 to go then. Happy days. Over 370,000. I thought there's more than that. Sealed federal indictments have been getting worked on for this war effort. Currently, these indictments are being unsealed at the pace of more than 1,000 a week. Where is Sessions? Where is Huber? I'll tell you where. Doing the work of light and justice. Midnight oil, you couldn't imagine. Justice will bring peace. Yes, it will. I wonder if they're in these new courthouses built at Gitmo. Eyes on. This post was deleted quickly after the screenshot. What the fuck? Donald J. Trump re-truthed. Right, this is from Cat Turd. The news are being spread about the @Red Waiting channel on Telegram. Important video that explains everything will be broadcasted on January the 17th, 2023 at 11 Central Time. Just type the name in the search bar and join it now. Spread the news. Now that was 4 days ago, right? And that was really weird because it was deleted really quick after. Cat Turd put it up and Trump re-truthed it. Now, I don't know if there's comms in there or anything. And I forgot or can't recollect what actually did come out on the 17th. But I wasn't looking at that Red Awakening channel for sure. There's a few bits of Andrew Tate on here tonight, smashing out some beauties.
And after the last 3 years living through the imaginary pandemic, I don't know if I'm allowed to say pandemic and all the other garbage, people are genuinely...
Tell me what you mean by that.
I mean by the fact that I'm not saying that COVID does not exist as a disease. I'm saying that when you control the semantics of situations and control the language, then you get to control how people react to them. If you say pandemic on repeat on the news, then people start saying pandemic. But as a whole, and I ask you this as a genuine question, did you see a pandemic? Not did you see people in masks, because people wore masks, fine. You saw the news. Yeah, everyone saw the news. But did you see with your own eyes a pandemic? Did you see people collapsing in the street? Did you see hospitals overrun? Did you see ambulances running back and forth? No, you did not. You did not see a
pandemic of disinformation coming from the mainstream media. And I think people are waking up to it. But I also actually feel very sorry for folk who still feel frightened, because you've still got the New York Times, you've still got the Independent newspaper, you've still got The Gun, you've still got CNN pushing a narrative of fear.
But this shows how important it is for them to teach us to ignore our own eyes. Because you don't see a pandemic, but you still walk around and talk about a pandemic. Once they can ignore you, once they can convince you to ignore your own senses, then the slavery is complete. They no longer need to actually change reality. They can just tell you the sky is green and you will sit and you will comply. And that's what they're scared of. They're scared of people like me inspiring people to actually stand up and say, no, I don't see that. And I disagree with it. And my cancellation came at a point where people have lost a lot of faith in traditional media mechanisms. They've lost faith in traditional social media platforms.
They might have helped you.
Well, absolutely, because people have sat and realized they've been lied to, and they're consistently being lied to. And if you want new information and the truth, or even if you just want a different point of view to come to your own conclusions based on polarizing viewpoints, you're going to have to go to different places. And that's why their attempt to cancel me has failed. And people will seek me out wherever I go on the internet because they know I speak the truth.
People who have just heard of you through the mainstream media, though, would say you are racist, you are sexist, you are misogynist.
Yeah, of course they would. Yeah. And that's the thing that's so crazy. It's kind of crazy. Yeah, they call me racist. I'm mixed race to begin with. And yeah, it's weaponized virtue. If you have any kind of opinion on anything, you're going to have a degree of the population who's upset with your opinion. It doesn't matter if your opinion is the earth is round. There's people who out there who believe the earth is flat, and they're going to be genuinely upset with you. So once the mainstream media decides that you are a dangerous person because you inspire people to think, they're going to come along and they're going to weaponize virtue. They're going to choose a buzzword, racism, homophobic, misogyny, some buzzword that you can't argue against. They're going to take it. They're going to slap it on you. They're going to whip it up in the media machine and try and convince the world that you're somehow a dangerous person and you're a bad person and your ideas should be ignored. And they failed with me absolutely and utterly. And people are starting to realize that they simply lie.
And now you're back on Twitter. You were telling me you left the platform when you were first banned with 88,000 followers. How many do you have after a couple of weeks?
Yeah, I've been back 2 weeks now. I have 2.9 million, I think. So, and
is that down to Elon Musk? Was he the person who let you back on?
Yeah, and Elon is truly a hero of free speech, and he understands we were entering a draconian age of genuine. It was genuinely scary where we were heading, and now I start to feel like there's some hope. We're putting a crack in the matrix and a crack in the dam, and I think a lot of people are fed up with having ideas forced down their throat. But it's important that we stand up and talk about these things because it's happening on every level, even from the World Cup to this pandemic to ignoring the imaginary race card in Netflix documentaries. There are so many people not pointing out obvious things in the world that it's getting pretty scary to live in this false reality.
Yes, it is. Very true. Mic on. Twitter CEO Elon Musk drops hint the poll about stepping down as CEO was a trick to catch bots. Yes, it was. The Supreme Court delays the lifting of Title 42. Now, this is all about the border crossing. I've got a couple of videos to that. This could well be being resolved tonight, I think. Hello, people. It's just person, me, and you, Meg. That's two people. That's us. Mic is on. Facebook currently employs at least 115 people in high-ranking positions that formerly worked at the FBI, CIA, NSA, or Department of Homeland Security. For example, Aaron Berman, him, leads the misinformation policy team at Facebook. According to his LinkedIn profile, he worked at the CIA for 17 years. 17, really, did he? There's that number again. Now, this shows you this is madness. The Vatican defrocked pro-life priest. Father Frank Pavone this week for what it claimed were blasphemous. The Vatican defrocked pro-life priest Father Frank Pavone this week for what it claimed were blasphemous social media outposts and alleged disobedience to his bishop, but he has vowed to continue exposing abortion, Democrats, and the swamp. Vatican defrocks pro-life priest because he's against abortion. I think he's doing a few demonstrations on the altar and stuff like that. So he's pushing it to the knuckle, I think. But you would have thought everyone in the church would be pro-life. Is that the right phrase? It is pro-life, isn't it? Yeah, not pro-choice. Pro-life, yes. So the evidence is overwhelming. MP Andrew Bridgen tells GB News why the COVID-19 shot should be suspended.
Andrew, why does this matter to you so much?
I'm not anti-vax. I'm double vaxxed with AstraZeneca, but I've looked at the evidence as it's come out around the side effects and harms, and I think the matters actually now the evidence is overwhelming. You know, we've had almost 500,000 yellow card adverse events. That's more yellow card adverse events on mRNA vaccines than all the yellow card issues of the last 40 years. This is really significant. We've got unexplained excess death rates, cardiac arrests increasing in the under 40s, and no one seems to want to talk about it. What we do know as well is that we've not had normal scientific analysis of the efficacy and effectiveness of the vaccines because that was banned when they came out. Anyone who questioned the efficacy or the safety was shut down. That's not the way science works, Lawrence. Science has to work by challenge.
What's turned it around for you? What's made you come over to this side of the conversation that, you know, I live on personally, but GB News doesn't represent, but that's my view. What's brought you around?
Well, it's not about politics. I'm considered this hard right-winger by most people in Parliament. But this issue, when you're talking about the health of the population, and when policy is now to extend these experimental vaccines to children of the age of 6 months, where all the evidence from America testing on under 5 show that 1 in 100 will be seriously hospitalised over this.
But that is disputed.
It's not about right or left. This is about right and wrong. And
I get it. No, sorry, I'm with you. It is about right or wrong. You should not be throwing jabs in 6-month-old children.
But no benefits to them whatsoever.
But what I want to do is make sure that the argument is as solid as possible. That is disputed, that claim.
Okay,
that it's 1 in 100.
The esteemed cardiologist, Dr. Asim Malhotra, produced a paper which he presented in Parliament 3 months ago. It's been all around the world. It's had lots of coverage here and in the USA. There's been no scientific rebuttal of his claims that the vaccines are no longer effective. They're no longer necessary because the virus attenuated itself a year ago to become the Omicron variant, which is a bad cold for most people. You'd have to vaccinate 7,300 over 80s to prevent 1 COVID death. Well, when you've got, by Pfizer's own figures, 1 in 800 severe adverse events, the harm you're doing by the vaccination is greater than the good. The risk benefit, even for over 80s, is the wrong side of the equation. And for anyone under 40, countries like Denmark, a very sensible country, they've banned all vaccinations and boosters for anyone under 50. They've looked at the risk benefit of the vaccine. We're not.
How deep do you think this rabbit hole goes?
Well, let's find out. But at the moment, the mainstream media won't even look into it.
So it is very difficult to talk about this issue. And for me, what that instills
means we must talk about it.
Is that we've got to talk about
Absolutely.
it. And why are we so scared of it?
There's a lot of money involved in all of this, and there's a lot of political capital being invested by people in all of this. But at the end of the day, I think if anyone looks at the data, and we have any sort of investigation at all, it's clear that the rollout of these mRNA experimental vaccines should be suspended. And they're still on an emergency authorization. I'm absolutely convinced the reason they're still on emergency authorization, despite we've 3 years into this supposedly having known about COVID-19, is because if they were approved for general usage, the analysis that has to happen of adverse effects would mean they'd be shut down within a week.
Yeah, exactly that. They would be shut down. It's not just us anymore, Megs. Hey, Matt. How you doing? Thanks for joining. And yeah, Meg, they're not bothered, are they? People don't care. I don't know whether it's because they're digging their heels in, vaccinated, scared, whatever. But they'll have to come around sooner or later. Steve Bannon, there's a lot of people are going Trumpy Trump now. They're we're getting the Carrie Lake's been brilliant this week.
This is a coming together. This is beyond politics. This is the new politics, right? That you guys stood up, you men and women, and particularly young men and women, stood up and refused to have that with all the pressure, all the society pressure, all the corporate pressure. They brought everything to bear.
College. They were kicking kids out of college for not taking it.
But let me ask you about this then. I feel like it's only possible because of the internet, right? Because social media allows us to have these conversations, to do shows like this. If these are really tools that are crafted from the get-go by the machine, by the intelligence agencies, are they being used by us?
You know what? Those are methodology. You know why we were able to do it? Because in this crowd is handed down the meaning of liberty. That's what it is. There's a kernel in this country that is not prepared. A kernel in this country is not prepared to be defeated. And you're seeing it. That's why it's a pivot point for us. That's why we're ascended. That's why we're on the move. And yes, and no matter how they deplatformed it, people got to that information, right? Yes. The anarchists, the revolutionaries, everybody got the information, and we came together and said, fuck you, right?
That's exactly right.
Is that the essence of liberty?
Yeah, that's the essence of.
Hell yeah!
What do you think? What did Sam Adams tell the British Empire? Fuck you, right? What did John Hancock say? Fuck you! USA, USA, USA.
Lovely bit from the Vigilant Fox there, yet again. I think people are going to find, well, we know, don't we, that the UK, Britain, England, the Crown, whatever, has controlled the USA for a very long time. I don't think it does anymore. With the public death of Lizzie and all that sort of stuff, and what Trump's done over the years. But this is a global thing, isn't it? This is, I know it's all USA and stuff, but it's a trickle down from there. Now, this is from Lewis Herms. I'm not really going to comment on this. Brittany Griner shooting hoops with man pecs. It's a dude cheating women out of place in the WNBA. That's Lewis Herms' words. Now, I've done a bit of looking into Brittany Griner and stuff like that, and I wouldn't like to say one way or the other. You make your mind up. I mean, honestly, I don't even know the history behind Brittany Griner. I'm not going into that anymore. Hold him accountable. Now, Donald Trump, referring to the radical left scoundrels like Adam Shifty Schiff, who are purposely destroying our country. Soon we won't have a USA anymore. Hold them accountable. I'll only play a little bit of this. This is from a film, but...
Rudolf Hess. On the charges of crimes against humanity, the tribunal finds you not guilty. But we find you guilty on counts 1 and 2, and thereby sentence you to imprisonment for life. Admiral Wilhelm Keitel, guilty on all 4 counts. The tribunal sentences you to death by hanging.
I'm not going to play all that. You don't need to see that. Basically, now Trump and a few others are pushing this Nuremberg 2.0 trials coming out. Great stuff. Think of it, the radical left Democrats, communists, spied on my campaign, lied to the FISA court, lied to Congress, allowed an invasion of our country on the southern border, embarrassed us in Afghanistan, gave away our energy independence, killed us on job-losing regulations, wouldn't use the 10,000 plus soldiers I recommended for January the 6th, refused to look into election fraud, the reason for January 6th, rigged and stole the 2020 election, allowed ballot stuffing, the FBI, Facebook, Twitter and Biden crime. Continue from the previous truth. And I'm the one that the corrupt and partisan unselect committee goes after, a 2-tiered justice system. And by the way, whatever happened to the massive number of crimes committed by Joe and Hunter Biden? They're right there. They're right there! Documented and 100% certain. Also, where is the prosecutor from Delaware? What happened to him? Is he friends with the Ukrainian prosecutor who didn't prosecute after Biden held up the $1 billion payment to Ukraine? I did nothing wrong. So much coming out. Public truth is what we want. Should I stick down as in the Twitter? I will abide by the poll results. That's how it started, 57 to 43. It's quite funny, really. Where did I see that? Oh, that really. 391 on the poll results. Well, Stormy Joe Patriot went to drop 391. Just happens to be a Q Delta. And this happens to be Twitter rants can be harmful. Lesson learned. When does a bird sing? There's it's funny how things line up quite regularly, isn't it now? The highly partisan Unselect Committee is illegally leaking confidential info to anyone that will listen. Adam Shifty Schiff is all over TV talking about criminal referrals, just like he was on the Russia hoax, which turned out to be the con of the century. How much longer are Republicans and American patriots in general going to allow this to happen? These are the criminals who spied on my campaign, cheated on the election, lied to the Pfizer court and Congress. They are sick. And this is December the 18th, well, that's a 4-year delta. These people are sick. They're lining up all the time. Breaking, Carrie Lake wins big right to bring election fraud case to trial. Judge denies the motion to dismiss Katie Hobbs. Well, Katie Hobbs hid in her basement, didn't she? Now it's going to trial. I've got a wicked little video of her doing that to the media in a minute. Big says that we have to get access to all 14,000 hours, yeah.
And we have to subpoena and get access to the entire 14,000 hours of the January 6th. No more of this stuff that's been kind of edited and cropped and out where they can, they have a narrative that they're trying to craft. That has got to go away.
Look at this.
Than anybody I know. He's given up more than anybody I know. And these bastards of the media want to drag him through the mud. Than anybody I know.
Magic. That's brilliant. I love her.
See again, all of
quiet. Thank you. SGAnon did Anon Origin File 31. Ebola as a possible pathogen for Pandemic 2. Lots of people have been saying something is coming. Then Phil banged on, and he did one, basically saying that they had a global killer that the swamp was going to release on the earth, take everyone out, including them, but they don't care because that's what they like. They know they've lost. And then Sherry Tenpenny weighed in after she watched SGAnon one. Just for your information, folks, this may be it. Ebola as a possible pathogen for pandemic number 2. In 2019, only 11% of humans understood we have a criminal globalist mob in world leadership. By early 2022, that number was 44%, and now it's probably over 50%. Could the wake up of the other 50% be coming soon for the globalist next plan against us that they seem to have been planning over the past few months? The next one will get their attention. Their release of an Ebola outbreak, the scare event we have been looking for that brings the world to the precipice of destruction, walking the rest of the sleepers in a short time, finally bringing the honourable alliance of world military leaders into wide public view as we and they begin publicly taking down the last of the globalist mob. Yeah, we've got to be eyes on for something like that happening, but everyone's prepared. I'm not sure it'll be that myself. I think a banking collapse where everyone loses their money, or COVID truth and what have I been injected with sort of thing. But we don't know, do we? The plan. Eyes on. CNN thinks the January 6th Unselect Committee, nothing burger, is bigger than the Twitter files. These people are stupid. Yeah, that's from Bernie. Counter-programming. After the 1-6 committee referred to Trump to the DOJ on 4 criminal charges, the homepages of Fox News, Newsmax, the Gateway Pundit and the New York Post are choosing to instead lead with the Twitter files. These people are stupid. This is France provides photos of children who needlessly die from COVID vaccinations. I think I've shown it. That's just little children, man. This goes into millions of people dead. Right? Lots of people have been talking about the Milgram experiment. I don't know if anyone doesn't know about it. It was, why is it so many people obey when they feel coerced? Social psychologist Stanley Milgram researched the effect on authority and obedience. He concluded people obey either out of fear or out of a desire to appear cooperative, even when acting against their own better judgments and desires. So they had a load of people in a room and they were shocking people, basically. Well, he did an experiment where someone was sitting in this room, wired up. The subject was here and the experimenter was there. He basically, a researcher asked a participant to administer electric shocks to a test subject when he answers questions incorrectly. The test subject is an actor in the room there behind a closed screen who makes noises when he receives the shocks. The participant is made to believe that each shock is stronger than the last one. Now, I have obviously seen this before, and some people are going, do you think I should stop? No, you crack on. I'm in charge. And results, all of Milgram's original participants continued the experiment to 300 volts of electricity. 65% of them administered the maximum voltage of 450, which was clearly labelled as life-threatening. Milgram concluded that ordinary people are likely to follow orders given by an authority figure, even to the extent of killing an innocent human being. That is shocking stuff. It is shocking. I've got a the participants claimed that they administered the shocks for three main reasons. One, the authority figure seemed trustworthy. Well, that's what you do. You put someone in a doctor's coat, that's what they believe, isn't it? Or call someone an expert on the TV. The cause was good scientific research. Oh, really? They believed that if anything bad happened, the researcher would take full responsibility. So that doesn't make it any better at all. People always trying to pass the buck. Wall Street Apes. According to the whistleblower's lawyer representing the case, it is the single most significant whistleblower case in the world in history, with 2.9 trillion in damages being sought for the frauds committed to the public. This case involves a whistleblower who oversaw multiple clinical trial sites for Pfizer in 2020. In her 20 years of working in clinical trials, she said she'd never witnessed such egregious fraud on every level. Federal lawsuit called the False Claims Act by Ian Brooke Jackson. Did you know that there's a pending court case right now that aims to prove that Pfizer's mRNA shots were sold to the government based on fraudulent data and could upend Pfizer's contract with the government? It could, in effect, stop the shots. Well, anything that stops the shots will be great. Ian Strong did a poll. Who should be in charge of Twitter? 90% of people said Elon. That's obviously more conservative there, but this is Andrew Bridgen again.
Just to clarify, just so we're absolutely clear, you are a Conservative MP. You just had a debate in the House of Commons, the historic chamber, and you're telling me that you met people from Pfizer in 2020 and they said they were going to roll this situation out where we had to have boosters every 3 months. They said they were going to engineer it so that would be the case. You're saying
they didn't say they were going to engineer it. I've only worked that out afterwards. They told me unequivocally, you will be having to take these vaccines every 3 months for the rest of your life.
Okay.
And they didn't tell me how they were going to engineer it.
Yeah, but you have inferred that the technology that they've used is the way that they're putting that business plan into operation. Many people listening.
Crazy stuff, everything that's coming out, isn't it? I thought Harvey Weinstein was well tucked away, but he's been found guilty of rape at the Los Angeles trials. So I don't know how many cases that is now. Don't need to go into that. Christine MP, Christine Anderson, member of the European Parliament, going for the jugular of the EU again. She's superb, she is.
When these vaccines became available, we were promised it would prevent contraction and transmission of COVID-19. All governments around the world, EU Commission, everyone, basically repeated that, began harassing and intimidating people so they would take that promised game changer. Well, turns out it was fake news, wasn't it? Somebody lied, and I want to know who lied. Since I do not consider you to be stupid, you must have known that your vaccine is basically worthless at best, potentially harmful at worst. So my question is, did you lie to the EU Commission and governments around the world so they would spend billions and billions of taxpayers' money and buy your worthless stuff? Or did you tell the EU Commission and other governments around the world the truth about your worthless vaccines? And the governments lied to their citizens. Who lied? Just answer me that question, please. Thank you.
You're getting backed into a corner, these fuckers. Good. Taking the mark of the beast, or you're a terrorist. Anti-chippers are the latest group of awful people we now have to worry about. As if these troubling times haven't already encumbered us with enough challenges. They're paranoid, don't believe in science, many have white supremacist tendencies, and most importantly, they want you to know that microchip implants are super duper scary. They're anti-chippers, and they've got literally dozens more brain cells than your average anti-vaxxer. So what's the deal? Headlines, headlines, headlines. From David Curtin, there's abundance of oil, coal, gas, food, water. Scarcity is being fabricated by psychopaths. Yes, it is. I've played. It's worse than I thought. This is Jordan B. Peterson. I trusted the vaccine protest more than I should have. I thought the lockdowns and masks were a terrible idea, but I still thought we could rely on public health and science. Dr. Asim Malhotra. What should be the biggest story in the world? The Coast Guard, in the powerful and extraordinary call to action on the COVID mRNA vaccine scandal, they, politicians and media, may keep their hands over their eyes, but we can see them, and their silence is deafening. Exactly. Jamie Raskin, I can't stand this fella. They will not give it up.
His filing a false statement, and of course he worked to incite an insurrection, to assist an insurrection, and to give aid and comfort to an insurrection.
Still going after Trump. This guy here, he's my friend on Facebook now. Here they go again with new virtual signal. I'm staying in my 20-minute neighbourhood to help cool down the planet. He's taking the piss. He's one of us. Good boy. See you later, Megs. Someone else has come in. Switch the TV off. This is, I don't know what this is.
I really wish I could be standing up here joining in the eulogies to a free media and its crucial role as a pillar in our democracies. But I look at the media that we have and I don't see much freedom. Our media is strangled by money, it's hobbled by fear. For most media organizations, access to power is far more important than holding power to account. Careers depend on towing the line. Balance sheets demand a constant churn of stories which are recycled from official statements, press releases, social media, anywhere but out in the world, anything but upset the status quo. And Nick Davis described this in 2008 as the mass production of ignorance. 14 years later, it's way worse now. So if we want to hold ourselves as the defenders of media freedom, we have to recognize that our mainstream media is anything but free. It's a water carrier for political and corporate power, dedicated to enforcing the demands of global capital. And people like Julian Assange are the exceptions. the ones who pay the price. If we don't accept that, we're on a hiding to nothing.
Hiding to nothing. Charlie Freak, lest we ever fear the COVID-19 insanity, because a plastic face guard prevents the COVID monster from simply going around and under the guard and straight into their nostrils. Unfucking believable. I am sure the newborn crowns must have loved these vice grips around their heads too. Thank God for the Second Amendment. Never forget what they did. Hello, Shell. Hello, Ian. Rumble's not working tonight. The link fucked up and I didn't, I'd already started, so I couldn't change it. Now, this is a little clip of Putin here. I'm not sure what's going on.
С болью, с кровью, но вырывайте из кровавой пасти этих людоедов наших людей, что вы решились на это. А мы будем в этом помогать, мочить людоедов столько, сколько вы от нас этого потребуете. С болью, с кровью, но вырывайте из кровавой пасти этих людоедов наших людей, что вы решились на это. А мы будем в этом помогать, мочить людоедов столько, сколько вы от нас этого потребуете.
Yes, she's talking about cannibals. I wonder, excuse me, if she's talking about the Nazis in Ukraine and children eating, etc.
Former President Trump incited an erection.
He worked to incite an erection.
There is no comparison to inciting an erection.
Into inciting an erection.
If you feel if a president has incited an erection.
For inciting the erection.
Incited the erection.
Someone who just incited an erection. Did incite an erection on the Capitol.
For inciting that deadly erection.
Well, he makes me feel quite special too. But do you think they're made to do that? Do you think they're White Hat controlled? And they were made to say that? Let's see what happens. This is this doctor again.
Who have used tools at their disposal to essentially bully, silence, and intimidate doctors and other medical staff from speaking up about patient safety concerns. I would just like to say, it doesn't matter how powerful and protected you might think you are right now. The wee problem with truth is that it has an annoying habit of coming out. And history does not look kindly on those whose only defense was to say, we were just following orders. The tide is turning. Make sure you're on the right side of history. And on that note, I'm going to get back to my run.
Can you give me a 5-5 in the chat if you can hear that all right? I'm not muting my mic all the time when I show these little video clips. It's a chore. I forget to turn it off. I forget to turn it on. I know it sounds slightly better if I do mute my mic, and I will do it if I do a long video, obviously. But are these little clips sounding all right? Let me know. I shall play another one in a minute. Tom and Ren's on X22, he said something very interesting. He's basically said now that he's waiting for confirmation. It is not confirmed, but he has got people now telling him that they have mixed the COVID jab into the flu shot, which is what we've been saying for a long time. So, did anyone hear me? Can you put a 5-5 in the comments if you can hear these video clips all right? This is from Tony Stock. You'll be hearing a lot about the Bank of Japan in the coming hours. It's announced unscheduled bomb buying. Emphasis on unscheduled. Currencies are currently reacting. Yes, it will globally impact. No, there is nothing you can do. Just enjoy the festive financial chaos. 5-5. Thank you, Ian. That's brilliant. I actually forgot. I think you're on a delay a little bit, aren't you? I don't know how much. Let me have a look at the Facebook thing. Woohoo! 1, 2, 3, 4, That's paused. 7-7. Okay, that's lovely. Yeah, that's paused the Facebook one. Anyway, I don't need to look at that. What about the UK? What did Boris do? The UK needs to know what their governments did too. Yes, at Elon, Twitter. Government paid Twitter millions of dollars to censor info from the public. So much information coming out. Hi, Sally. Thank you. Carrie Lake's attorney is dropping red pills. This case is also about secret censorship operation set up by the government that will make Orwell blush. This is all going to come out, I think. I personally think that Trump has had to step back, which we knew he would. He has to remain neutral, out the way, while Elon's dropping all the D-class, and Carrie Lake is gonna go through this ballot harvesting, election fraud, and if it's proved Carrie Lake was cheated, that sets the precedent. Trump is back and everything. Well, Trump will be straight back. Doesn't it? Fraud vitiates everything.
This case is also about a secret censorship operation set up by the government that would make Orwell blush. You have the federal government creating an election misinformation reporting portal specifically for state and local election officials, which ties them directly with social media companies like Twitter and Facebook, and allows
What's the sound like on this video?
These election officials to immediately flag and take down information to censor people that they find objectionable. They call it misinformation, but this is a secret operation. This is an affront to the First Amendment, but it's more than just that, because there's evidence in the record that these officials, such as Stephen Richer, for sure, were participating in it during the campaign. And the Defendants Council made note that the Board of Supervisors is Republican, but Recorder Stephen Richer started a PAC that was directly antithetical to plaintiff Carrie Lake. These First Amendment violations, Your Honor, move votes. And should this case proceed to trial, we will be introducing expert testimony just as how censoring information can quantifiably shift an election, particularly one with this. I mean, the defendants say that there's 17,000 votes, that somehow this is insurmountable. But when you have 1.6 million votes, this is, I believe, about a 0.6% difference, which is, a tenth of a point out of the recount territory. Now, we're not seeking a recount, but the idea that 17,000 votes is an insurmountable hurdle.
17,000 votes. Again, there's that 17 again. I was on the Bank of Japan. Yeah, this is the Bank of Japan extends yield target band to 50 BPS from 25 BTS. This is how a currency fails. Japan is caught in a debt spiral. You can't taper a Ponzi. That was yesterday. So eyes on that. Let's see what happens. The Taliban have banned all Afghan women from attending university and higher education. That was 22 hours ago I posted that. Now, this is all come about, obviously, hasn't it, since that Biden withdrawal debacle, putting out Afghanistan, the Marines getting killed, leaving all that equipment there. And I don't know, and we don't know what sort of deal Trump made with the Taliban beforehand and that sort of stuff, because it was pretty peaceful, wasn't it? There's no soldier killed in Afghanistan, I don't think, at all, in 2 years, 18 months, something like that, beforehand. I just found that interesting, that this is global escalation, basically, of things happening. This is Argentina celebrating the World Cup. They were all at it. Imagine you were just finding this out for the first time. So the Democrats use public money to fund social media system of propaganda and censoring of their enemies, the most formidable of which being the American people. In fact, the vast majority. And Twitter is just the tip of the iceberg. All of that money used illegally to commit treason, ensuring the removal of the elected government by ignoring the First Amendment of the Constitution. Other social media companies too, not just Twitter. Yeah, you're going to find out it's all of them probably. Google, Facebook. Well, how many have I been banned from? Plenty. Boom, another trap, another victory. 61% say to Elon Musk, stay on, and 39% say step down. Again, this is a national representative and scientific poll. I think Elon Musk said, and we've said this just now, that interesting, suggests that maybe we might still have a Bitsy bot problem on Twitter. There's still sting operations going on and on and on.
Felt that the government was deliberately spraying cold germs in subways, was deliberately trying to make people ill with the AIDS virus. This is pretty serious stuff. Do you really feel that?
Well, it's a good question. Well, I'm with Barbara Walters. Oh, that's a serious one. Okay. So I got to, now, because people are going to chase me after this. People are going to chase me. I believe that it is quite highly possible that the AIDS virus is a result of genetic warfare testing.
By American agents?
Absolutely.
Now, I saw that old clip of Will Smith yesterday, and it made me think, is the Will Smith we are seeing now actually him? Did they replace him a long time ago? Because he was speaking out. It's been quite hard, hasn't it? You know, thinking that Will Smith is a complete and utter wrong un, from how he used to be, Fresh Prince and stuff like that. Obviously different, wasn't it, when he give Chris Rock a slap? That was a really strange event too, wasn't it? But yeah, Will Smith speaking out, and they replaced him a long time ago, because I think that's got to be 20 years ago at least, doesn't it? Anyway, there was a rumour that breaking Elon Musk to appoint Donald Trump Jr. as new Twitter CEO after stepping down. Simon Parkes did that, but I don't think Elon Musk is stepping down. We should wait and see. I won't play this clip, but it was my dream job to work at CNN, and then I got to see that news we saw was most brutally manufactured, not reported. This is whistleblower Carrie Porch on why he exposed corruption within the CNN. That's in there. This is an FBI whistleblower. This lady is a whistleblower about child trafficking. I think that is Zach Voorhees, that looks like, who's obviously the Google whistleblower, talking about the algorithms and stuff. Project Veritas has got people whistleblowing all over the place. Fucking good too. So much coming out. Now it's a bit more on Carrie Lake. Brilliant.
She basement Hobbs. She ducked out on the debate, but she can't duck out from taking the stand in our trial. She will have to take the stand. Katie Hobbs is going to have to put her hand on the Bible and swear to tell the truth. That might be hard. That might be hard. And so is Stephen Richer. They're going to have to swear to tell the truth. And I just want to remind them that perjury is a felony. So we're really excited. We're really excited. We have an excellent case. Our trial begins Wednesday and goes on into Thursday. And we need you to continue to pray for our team. This is serious stuff what's going on here, guys. We have a chance to show the world that our elections are truly corrupt and we won't take it anymore. And so we need your prayers.
Yeah, wicked. And she also said in another clip, we are going to take it to these bastards. She's really, really standing up. It's brilliant stuff. Climate cultists dragged off at a racetrack as crowd boos and calls them names. I think it's in England, this one. Yeah, people were talking in the comments on that. Where is it? Where is it? People going, that is definitely England. You can hear it. Man, you fucking dickhead. You twat. Miley Cyrus might have a bit of Bell's palsy going on.
It's like a little doll. it's like a broken doll, like a baby doll.
Thank you.
Yeah,
the broken doll.
Yeah.
She's got the eye of the Pfizer. From Kim.com. They call me crazy and a conspiracy theorist for warning you about the deep state. Have a look at some of my past tweets. I'm here to serve you with knowledge so that our children can have a future. We must fight them or they will destroy humanity. Lefty media is a deep state accomplice for not reporting on criminal mass surveillance against all Americans by Obama. He changed the Smith-Mundt Act in 2015 or before to be able to spy on the American people. That geezer really is some sort of serpent, I'll tell you. It was exposed today. Elon, why has the mainstream media refused to report on this? So much stuff that they're not. That's me. Now, I never thought this would happen, but old Juggies is on the new notes, we think. Has anyone seen any yet? Specimen, speck of mine, as Di would say. Go on, Carrie. Yeah, definitely. So we'll see about that. I haven't seen any of those yet. Now, this is what's going on at the border. 17-second video. I've got a better video than that, actually. I'll put it in the comments down there. So this is, I think they're getting prepared now, because if this Title 42 does end, and the Title 42 is basically, hang about a minute, let me read. Title 42, since March 2020, the US has used its authority under the Title 42 public health law to rapidly expel migrants and, in some cases, suspend the right to seek asylum under US law and international treaty. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention under the Trump administration invoked Title 42 shortly after the coronavirus outbreak. Its purpose was to prohibit border control agencies from holding migrants in congregant settings like holding stations where COVID-19 could spread rapidly. In effect, through Title 42, though Title 42 gave the government the power to rapidly expel any migrant without giving them an opportunity to make a case for staying in the country legally, including to seek asylum. The US Supreme Court on December the 19th, 2 days ago, blocked a plan by President Biden's Joe Biden administration to lift the restrictions on December the 21st as ordered by the lower court. So,
is trying to message to migrants that the Texas border, at least, is going to be closed. And here's what they're trying to do to send that message. Take a look at this video right out of El Paso this afternoon. Our team shooting video from Ciudad Juarez showing a deployment of Texas National Guard to the river's edge in El Paso. This is the area where they've been crossing in huge numbers in recent days, and you can see what they're doing now, laying down concertina wire, razor wire, and deploying lines of Humvees as well as Texas DPS vehicles to give a fairly unwelcoming image to migrants who are thinking about crossing that river. Again, 400 National Guard soldiers have now been deployed, sent there directly by Texas Governor Greg Abbott in anticipation of a potential mass migration event, which they are planning on potentially seeing if Title 42 drops. We'll show you what they're doing here in Eagle Pass. Take a live look at our Fox News drone. The last couple of days, including today, Texas authorities have been placing these large shipping containers right on the border here in Eagle Pass. This has been a popular crossing area for many months now, and there were some gaps in the shipping containers that were there. So we've been watching them as they've been plugging all of those gaps, setting up more barbed wire and setting up floodlights so when it's nighttime they can turn those on and see who and what is potentially crossing the border. Then we'll show you this video our team shot here in Eagle Pass this morning. Same old story, Groundhog Day here in Eagle Pass. Thermal drone showing a couple of hundred migrants who crossed illegally this morning. As usual, almost always single adults, typically from the countries of Cuba, Nicaragua, and Colombia, turning themselves in because they believe they will be released after processing. And then lastly, we'll take you out to Big Bend sector in West Texas, extremely remote terrain. Texas DPS troopers finding and arresting 3 illegal immigrants from Honduras who were smuggling drugs. What do they have? 2 pounds of fentanyl pills hidden in a little bag, as well as marijuana bundles totaling 172 pounds. Texas DPS says throughout Operation Lone Star, they have now seized more than 354 million lethal doses of fentanyl. And back out here live, Neil, it is simply just a waiting game. Department of Justice has until 5 p.m. tonight to file a response with the Supreme Court, to file a response with the Republican states who say Title 42 should not go away just yet. But if it does end up dropping tonight at midnight, everybody along the border is expecting a major surge. We will have our teams deployed all along the southern border if and when that happens, Neil. We'll send it back.
Yeah, so that was 11 hours ago. That might be tonight. They are 21 hours ago, that 11 hours ago, and it's, oh yeah, I was shit to bed, didn't I? Normally about fucking 5 o'clock in the morning or whatever. 13 hours ago, that is. 7 o'clock, whatever. So that could well be tonight. We shall see. We shall see what happens. Erica Marsh breaking. Congressman Jamie Raskin just announced that Donald Trump will be criminally referred to the DOJ on 4 counts: conspiracy to defraud the US government, conspiracy to make a false statement, obstruction of Congress, incitement of insurrection. These people will stop at nothing trying to get this man. Whether this is all show or not, it's fucking laughable, isn't it? And they're going for him. They can't get him. 6 years, they can't get him. And I think he's going to get them. Now, let me just read this. This is the Twitter files, part 8. I've just clicked on the thread. This is Lee Fang is releasing this Twitter files part. I'll just read a couple of bits. Part 1. Our Twitter quietly aided the Pentagon's covert online PSYOP campaign. Despite promises to shut down the covert state-run propaganda networks, Twitter docs show that the social media giant directly assisted the US military's influence operations. Twitter has claimed for years that they make concerted efforts to detect and thwart government-backed platform manipulation. Here is Twitter testifying to the Congress. In 2017, a US Central Command, CENTCOM, officially sent Twitter a list of 52 Arab language accounts we used to amplify certain messages. The official asked for a priority of 6 accounts, verification for one, and whitelist abilities for the others. This goes on and on. It's all about drone usage and stuff. It's amazing. You want to keep your eye on these Twitter files because they are dropping stuff thick and fast. Tucker Carlson, this is only a short clip. I can't remember what he says.
Hey, it's Tucker Carlson. I have been reading Libs of TikTok for almost 2 years now. Libs of TikTok has been on our show, but behind the screen, I'd never been around Libs of TikTok. And then today she showed up, it's a she, I'll tell you that, in our studio using her real name.
It's true, I'm right here.
She's even cooler than I imagined. So she'll be revealing herself on our show.
Libs of TikTok, brilliant. Love it. Trump retruthing blatant Nuremberg trials on Truth, and now Bannon calling for military tribunals, almost as if this is a coordinated plan. What we've been saying for the last 5 years is now becoming a mainstream talking point. 2023 is going to be insane. Yes, Twitter's dark secrets. Twitter. So much coming out. This lot here now, they're passing how much? A bill, obviously, for 1.7 trillion. They're pushing this through.
Making sure the Defense Department can deal with the major threats coming from Russia and China, providing assistance for the Ukrainians to defeat the Russians. That's the number one priority for the United States right now, according to most Republicans. That's sort of how we see the...
Oh, shut up. It would be good, wouldn't it, if he was a white hat playing his part, the old crow. But there you go. Wonderful news. Baby Will from New Zealand. This baby, so beloved by all caring and ethical Kiwis, is now out of Starship Hospital and in the safe embrace and gentle privacy of his parents and their home. This has happened more quickly because of your prayers and your support. You real Kiwis, and you, the extended family around the world, who stood beside brave Sam and Cole as they suffered their ordeal to protect their son and to help him remind us all of truth. So he's doing well. Well done, everyone, for sending your prayers and love. Tim Robbins, now speaking out, expresses remorse about turning on the unjabbed and the unmasked. We turned into tribal, angry, vengeful people. Yes, you did.
This was changed as well. We went into lockdown with healthy people, with children, and that didn't seem to be wise to me. So I'm not a scientist. I'm not a doctor. I don't know the intricacies of data on this. All I can respond to is as someone that is concerned about what the result of those doctrines, that policy had on us as human beings. And it's not good. We turned into tribal, angry, vengeful people. And I don't think that's something that is sustainable for the earth, that we start demonizing people that don't agree with our particular health policies and turn them into monsters, turn them into pariahs, say that they don't deserve a hospital bed. I think about, people that have made bad mistakes in their lives where they take too many drugs and they overdose, and that's totally their choice. That's totally their responsibility. Yet we take care of them. Yet we bring them to the hospital. Yet we save their lives because we're compassionate, because we want to make sure that people live. And this turned. It turned into, you should fucking die because you have not complied. That's incredibly dangerous.
Yeah, it is. You fucking did it, along with loads of other people. Talking about being put on the spot, this must be a living nightmare for Shifty. Don't be fooled by his smug exterior actors. They know how this ends, and they know it's not pretty. Schiff knows that Musk has proof to back up his claims, and he's probably got a lot more that Schiff hasn't even thought of yet. He looks like a suicide case to me. He wouldn't last a week in the state pen. As outgoing chair of House Intelligence, did you approve hidden state censorship in direct violation of the Constitution of the United States? At Watermelon Head. Go on. Now, Nancy Pelosi is asking all members of Congress to be physically present on Capitol Hill tomorrow. So is that today or tomorrow? Zelensky is visiting DC, isn't he? So he's having a little holiday from war at the moment. He's come to America, I think, to speak in Congress, I think. So something's going on. We are ending a very special session of the 117th Congress. Eyes on. There we go again. Blam. They have to attack this poll with bots, or their spending bill will face heavy public rejection in the eyes of the world. They've been entrapped, and the bots are going to get blitzed if they do. The poll currently sits at 76% no. Should Congress approve the 1.7 trillion omnibus spending bill? 23 hours left, so that'll be finishing tomorrow. Ben Swan, this is such a perfect tactic. Q flipped an army of us by simply asking the right questions. Now, the right questions are being highlighted by Musk. Only the audience is far more widespread than just a rabble of Q followers. The world is watching. Light where there was darkness. Ben Swan, this is, since Elon Musk took over Twitter, he's already removed over 44,000 Twitter pages involved with child sexploitation in just India alone. What has really been going on behind the scenes at Twitter? Why was the situation allowed to get this out of control in the first place? Elon, good question. Now, I did read that they also got rid of these 3 Twitter hashtags that apparently there was certain Twitter hashtags that if you put them together in the same order, it would take you to child porn and nefarious wrong shit. We don't know all this Wayfair stuff that we saw and all that sort of stuff. Twitter is knee deep in all this crap, and it's all starting to come out. I read this. This is hilarious. This is the Babylon Bee news article. Let me just read this. Leaked. Hogwarts files revealed Dumbledore's point system totally rigged. Hogwarts leaked internal messages among the faculty at Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry reveal clear collusion between the school's headmaster, Professor Albus Dumbledore, and Gryffindor House, which won the year-long contest for the House Cup. If you don't follow the Babylon Bee, you should, because they take the piss, but they do it brilliantly. The XRP SEC case will settle and regulation is coming, but don't forget the possibility in this crazy movie that first Ripple loses the case. Ready for anything. Do you have any guesses at Vincent Kennedy? What XRP might go to when the switch is flipped? So many possibilities that seem plausible. Vincent Kennedy. It's good to keep realistic numbers. So let's go with the first 2 switches. First switch, lawsuit win, $2-3. Second switch, relist on US exchanges, $4-6 each. Or Either way, XRP and Ripple get SEC clarity, paving the way for more switches to flip, taking 10% and $10 at $10 and letting the rest ride, or just losing it all. Vincent Kennedy, we don't know who's behind this account, but a lot of people follow it, and it has posted some amazing stuff over the years. Great poll by Dr. McCullough on Twitter. 1% of people trusting the New Zealand Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern is far too high, though. Yes, it is. Do you trust Jacinda Ardern, New Zealand Prime Minister, when she says they are safe? 1%. No.
Is that how you assess the death data now?
Yes, absolutely. It's very mild now. It's very, very mild.
So
it's not an issue. It's not a public health issue. It shouldn't be. The pandemic is over.
So
we're dealing with a cold.
Mm-hmm.
We're dealing with a cold. In fact, I got COVID early on this year. I'll be honest with you, fine, I'm in my 40s. I've had worse colds. And I effectively, by that stage, was unvaccinated because it was more than a year since I'd had 2 doses. People need to be told the truth. We need to stop scaring people.
Exactly. And they're on a massive push now, aren't they? I think. Hold on to your hats for another lockdown for some reason. Global martial law taking down the swamp. The stories upon us would be the best one. But we might hear about it being something else first by the swamp. Donald J. Trump with truth. The FBI was just doing this at Twitter. Twitter is just the one we found out about. Wait till you find out about the FBI ops within the mainstream media. Exactly. This new book out by Ed Dowd, Cause Unknown, The Epidemic of Sudden Deaths in 21 and 22. You should really look at these. You know, you can follow these died suddenly groups all over the place. The stories are heartbreaking and people don't even want to look at them. I follow a group on Telegram called COVID BC brackets Vax Reactions, and it is just constant people, and a lot of it's people going, I've just had my jab, look at me, and then not doing very well. How's it going? How it was versus how it's going, sort of thing. Kim.com again. Hey, Elon Musk, it's unwise to run a poll like this when you are now deep state enemy number one. They have the biggest bot army on Twitter. They have 100,000 analysts with 30 to 40 accounts, all voting against you. Let's clean up and then run this poll again. The majority has faith in you. Should I step down as head of Twitter? I will abide by the results of this poll. Yeah, I'm hoping that Elon did this poll as a honeypot to catch all the deep state bots. The data set for this poll will contain most of them. Some good data mining, and he could kill them all in one go. It's so good, isn't it? Now, this is a golden oldie. I don't know how many people have seen this, but for all the people that are saying that's not Joe Biden, look at the ear. This was excellent.
Don't even want you. This is the one that you see on CNN, but where's the real Joe?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you could argue that someone goes to a fancy dress party, couldn't you? But we don't think it is. Exactly. Now, this is a good video from the Died Suddenly edition of the Irish Light is out now.
The new edition of the Irish Light is now out. We will be distributing this paper all around the 32 counties of Ireland. And as you can see, we are paying testimony to the many, many young people who have died suddenly in this country since the rollout of the COVID injection. No questions are being asked about the deaths of these young people, many of whom were very sporty, involved in their local sports clubs. Every single person in Ireland knows somebody who has died. Suddenly, they were perfectly healthy, and next minute they are dead. And we as a country need to start asking why this is happening. Also in this month's edition, the fact that the CSO has admitted that there was no pandemic in 2020. Their final figures show that. And this is the government data agency. And we have plenty of information about how the Irish people were propagandized by their government, by the HSE, by the media. And John Waters on the Chief Justice, Donald O'Donnell, and how he is once again abusing his power and stepping into areas where he has no place, talking about the so-called nationalist populist movement, which basically equates to people who feel that their rights are being trampled upon by this state every single day of the week. Probably the most important message that we want to get out in this edition apart from telling people to stop taking the poison injection, is to use cash where possible, because ultimately cash is our freedom from financial surveillance, from the digital currency that this government is trying to introduce. So please support the Irish Light. Order your copies at irishlightpaper.com. In the coming weeks, this newspaper is going to be deemed hate content and the government is going to ban it. So I would ask you to please, with all of your efforts, support this edition in whatever way you can and get it into the hands of as many people who are still asleep. Thank you.
Yeah, well done. Well done. Now, I was going to say something there, because we are looking at, I hear a few people saying they are going to push this central bank digital currency to give people a choice, right? And all us lot that are awake, that have prepared, got a bit of food, got a bit of money, bit of silver, whatever, right? You've got to say no, I believe, because if it goes that and there's some sort of split, a lot of people could lose a lot of money all at once. I think that could be one of the big wake up catalysts anyway, but I personally am not getting involved in any of it. But I'm not a financial advisor, do really like. This is good.
Right. The sensation is we, the people, Joe Blogs, general public, have managed to finally unearth what has been going on with the coronavirus and the scandal that's happened and the collaboration they've had with the professionals. They're a disgrace to their professions, the people that have supported this vaccine launch. And I'm not an anti-vaxxer, before you start. I am somebody that's had both the vaccines and the booster. So before I get any do-gooders coming on here saying, you know what you're talking about, you're sensation, you try to get new viewers or whatever it is going to be. No, I'm not. I'm just an ordinary member of the public. And somebody's really pissed off now. Pissed off because I've seen today something that didn't just come across my desk. It's something that was written by the Department of Health and Social Care on a freedom document that we're all entitled to, which I'll be posting later on, where it clearly says COVID SARS virus 2 has not been a virus contaminated within the humans. That's from the department. So why the hell have they allowed us to vaccinate everybody? This scandal is not going to go away. For everybody that's out there fighting for the cause, keep doing it. The people who want to come on your feeds and trolls, they want to just come along and cause issues, they can just fuck off, right? Because we, the people who can stand up and say we don't accept it, we know that we know we're in right. And now we've seen the documents. And please follow Dr. Philip Altman, Australian doctor. And he has all the documents on scientific research. And it's shocking. We're coming for you. We are, the governments, we're coming for you. Politicians, the corrupt media channels, ITV chairman, BBC chairman, you're all on the firing line now because you have backed the establishment against the people, and the will of the people will change, and we will come for you. And you will all be guilty by association now, because none of you had the balls to stand up and say it was wrong. And some people have. And we will do something to make sure this changes. And there's no stopping us now.
If Andrew Tate was
I will tell
mayor,
you right now, instead of virtue signaling and giving Qatar a hard time over their religious beliefs, what we should be doing is a treaty with Qatar to build a prison deep in the desert Make me mayor of London. We'll make a prison deep in the desert. And if you're caught with a knife or robbing someone, you can go do 25 years with 1 meal a day in the scorching sun. And then what we'll do is we'll put cameras here and we'll interview you once a week and broadcast that out to the nation and see if you change your mind and make people understand that this is a country that should be respected and our laws should be respected. Instead, what happens? What has Sadiq or any of the people in charge of this country actually done to fix any of our issues besides sit around and talk? Nothing. None of them have done anything, but they seem ultra concerned with finding money for proxy wars, ultra concerned with rainbow flags in another country that is uninterested in them, and their priorities are completely messed up. Of course the ambulance people are. Of course the ambulance drivers are striking. Of course the nurses are striking. Nobody cares about the most important things in this nation. It's a failing country in real time, and that's why I've left.
Bollocks. I was muted there, and I don't know from when. Yes, I do. It's the end of that Andrew Tate video. Fuck's sake. That's right. Oh, that's why we need an auto mute. Thank you, Shell. Matt. Yeah, I was on mute. Right. Catherine Austin Fitz did an interview with Greg Hunter from, I can't remember what his channel is on Rumble, but she was going in really hard on Trump. It's well worth a listen. I don't agree with her on a lot of it, but no worries. Right, Elon Musk never did the general amnesty for all the accounts that got booted off Twitter. There was about 70,000 of us, I think, and then a load more for accounts that were unfairly banned. Why not? With how close the FBI was working with Twitter, there are probably a bunch of preservation orders paired with gag orders for large swathes of accounts. A preservation order means he legally isn't allowed to unban accounts affected by the order. A gag order means he cannot tell us that there are preservation orders. Very interesting. Chuckle, yes. I was on that. Don't need to talk about that. We'll see what goes on there. Right, this is from Nino's channel. Dude, Zelensky is addressing Congress. What the fuck? We might as well launch the nukes. Congress will give him a standing ovation. Putin becomes the world's new evil Hitler. He has 6,000 nukes and is now backed into a corner. This means it's no longer a trivial give support for democracy. This is in your face act of war declared, supported by our Congress. God help us. Big shit's going to go down now. It has to. That was from David Nino Rodriguez channel just before I started doing this. And this came in as well. This is from Sidney Powell's channel. Breaking: Georgia Supreme Court reverses the lack of standing in the 2020 election case. It's still ongoing. This is still all about 2020. We'll hear about 2018 and 2022, the midterms and stuff like that. But that is what it's all about. Let me just click on my alerts, see if there's anything coming in. Johnson facing back FTX. He's interviewing Jack Maxey. I hope I can avoid the vaccinated this winter so I don't get sick. He's probably right. No, massive ruling. What's that? Supreme Court steps in and delivers massive ruling on a mail-in voting and same day. Supreme Court are sitting at the moment and they're banging out loads of stuff. Come on, Trump and Supreme Court. Let's have a big Christmas present this year, please. It is the third one. Yeah, right. Don't need to go all through that anymore. I'm going to stop sharing that screen and I'm going to share a different screen because I just want to read out a little bit of intel in my life. Share screen. Let's get that up there. Yeah. So let me go there. That's better for this one. And I've just read out that title 42. Now this is from Q the Storm. Do you like how I put it into big writing and into a Word document so people can say, I do. Q the Storm, Q operations, military behind Trump, Musk, United States Space Force, World Alliance. When Q started operations to expose the deep state world corruption, the world began to wake up and through the truth, the Great Awakening movement, near 1 billion worldwide are inside the movement sharing information. What was once thought only conspiracy by the mainstream media and governments is now coming true. Human trafficking, elites controlling the world, a worldwide paedophilia network, Epstein, election fraud, bioweapons creation, gain of function, etc. I'm only going to say that once. Now the operation continues as the 40,000-foot view of what's really happening behind the scenes is being exposed and live time drops keep falling as the JFK files are making a major comeback and even MSN news anchors are reporting. Several operations are connected to exposure of Fauci, gain of function. Function saga is only the beginning. Crypto connected to the world deep state money laundering operations being exposed. Biden being investigated for human trafficking, Maxwell trial records being unsealed, the collapse of fiat, the collapse of Ukraine, world money laundering operations, biolabs, Twitter files exposing, proving the FBI lied to big tech to steal elections. A whole lot is coming to light via the Twitter files, including mountains, just making sure I wasn't on mute, including mountains of evidence implicating the social media platform for things like censorship, blacklisting, and child pornography. You can also add election meddling by the FBI to that list, according to the latest drops. Inside the storm, follow the white rabbit, nothing to stop what is coming. 12 trillion. COVID scam, vaccine money laundering ring is in beginning of being exposed as World Alliance military is finding their way to drop this into the public sector in a mass awakening movement. Red pill event. Yes, please. Christmas Eve would do it. Everything starts from the home of the free, the United States. Rand Paul, Tom Cotton, Cruz, Trump, Musk, etc. And many more have the power and powery, is that a word? Powery and military. Intelligence reports and direct back channels to what's going on. They knew these military offers would take time as the deep state would bury itself in 21-22 sinking money collapse as the cabal spend the $12 trillion euros on bribes, paying off the world medical institutions, governments, banks, health sectors, lawyers, social media, tech, mainstream media, world info stage. The movement of this massive COVID scam, vaccine money laundering operation scheme, was blocked by the Khazarian deep state controlled money laundering operations that were running through Kazakhstan and Ukraine. Saudi Arabia, Bin Salman seized the Clinton CIA money operations in his country. White hats in China purposely collapsed their economy and seized assets. At the same time, Switzerland Rothschild hid their own money. The world elites pulled their billions connected to the millions investors pulling their money from stocks, world trading that connected to trillions. The exposure of the United States Treasury and bonds is a huge part of the plan, as the deep state and their entities cannot pay the high interest which connects to the collapse of banks. Behind the scenes, Congress White Hats, several Democratic leaders will flip as investigation into the US Treasury will be exposed, have plans to bring in the corruption of the century to world attention. The collapse of the banks, chaos of trillions of missing money. The military operations will connect US Treasury corruption to world money laundering operations that connects to the pandemic. A hell of a storm is brewing. Epstein videos, Maxwell unsealing, election fraud, Twitter exposure connected to SCOTUS courts, Biden human trafficking, the JFK files, collapse of crypto connected to money laundering. Now the deep state cabal is running out of money. Their next lockdown attempt will only expose their operations in all countries as military alliance when declass drops open exposure to the world corruption, pandemic, vaccines, world money laundering operations. White hats are coming after Google. Right, this is from George News. Trump, Make America Great Again 24, December 19, 22. Statement by Donald J. Trump. Over the past 2 years, Joe Biden has invited millions of illegal aliens to infiltrate our country in a gigantic unlawful invasion. Now, after announcing on April the 1st, always get worried reading stuff when I see that date, 2022, that he would end my Title 42 protections at the border and declining to appeal numerous court rulings, Biden is getting what he always wanted, the termination of the most effective border security policy in modern history. By abolishing what remains of Title 42, Biden is willfully and deliberately triggering a cataclysm of illegal immigration like the world has never seen before. The border nightmare is happening for a single reason, because illegal aliens know that if they break into our country unlawfully, Joe Biden will do everything possible to ensure that they are not removed and are allowed to stay here indefinitely. This is one reason why the renewed push to ram through the catastrophic amnesty is so hideously destructive. Any form of amnesty now would be a historic disaster. It would reward Joe Biden's lawlessness. It would reward the criminal cartels. It would reward child traffickers, and it would reward everyone who has broken the laws of our nation. Additionally, it would result in massively more illegal aliens and drugs pouring into American communities. While the amnesty push is temporarily on hold for the lame duck, history shows that the amnesty lobby will be back with a vengeance in the new year. Every Republican must understand that any so-called immigration reform that gives Biden more resources will simply translate to even more releases. Biden inherited a flawless deportation system and he turned it into a mass release machine. The border can only be secured by confronting Biden's lawless and criminal misconduct and stopping his illicit crusade to set loose millions of illegal aliens into the interior. To this end, Congress must immediately take three crucial actions. First, Congress must pass a total and permanent ban on Joe Biden or any other president using taxpayer dollars to release illegal aliens into the country. The best place to do it is in a federal spending bill. That is why Republicans must do whatever it takes to prevent Mitch McConnell, the old duck, from passing his sellout omnibus bill. Excuse me, I've got a cough. Congress should also defund Joe Biden's lawless ICE memorandum that gutted ICE and halted criminal enforcement. Second, having established a federal prohibition on all releases of illegal aliens, Congress needs to make permanent all of my administration's groundbreaking border security reforms that allowed us to achieve the most secure border in history and to rapidly deport anyone who trespassed across our border. My Title 42 policy must be legislatively restored and made permanent, making clear that it can be used in any circumstance the president deems necessary for border management. Likewise, remain in Mexico, our safe third country agreements, expedited removals, 212F, and many other vital Trump policies must be enshrined in federal law. This way, when I am president, and he keeps saying this, doesn't he? When I am president and forever after, we will have every authority secure the border, and when the border opens, radicals like Biden are in the White House, they will be prohibited by law from returning to catch and release. Third, knowing just how willing Joe Biden and his deputies have been to violate and dismantle the laws of our nation, Congress must establish criminal penalties for any senior official or political appointee who orders, aids, or abets the mass release of illegal aliens into the United States. What these open borders extremists are doing for our country is criminal, and it should be punished as such. In the meantime, As we brace for a wave of illegal mass migration, the likes of which have never been seen before, our prayers are with the brave border agents and ICE officers who Biden has so viciously betrayed. We thank them for their service, and we stand with them as they fight to keep bloodthirsty criminals, savage gangs, sadistic drug cartels, child and women smugglers, and human traffickers out of our country. Now, this is a post from Nino. A response from a viewer regarding General McInerney. He did an interview with him the other day. I haven't seen it yet. On Nina's Corner. I love General McInerney. I truly love him, but he does not have Q level clearances or higher. A few other points. The Q operation has done more to drive people to truth than any other effort in the history of the world. So biblically speaking, this is good fruit. This includes the rise of people getting engaged in elections. Again, good fruit. People are more engaged than ever. They are not standing down and just waiting. They are active in spreading the truth, fighting election fraud, becoming candidates at every level, fighting corrupt school boards, etc. The only thing folks are waiting for is justice, which can come in multiple ways. Preventing civil war is a good thing. Q stole a narrative from the enemy. If Q was not real and was not a real threat to the enemy, then mainstream media would be ignoring it rather than targeting it. Yes, there is a long history of a white hat plan. For example, the breaking of the Soviet Union was a white hat operation, although perhaps it was under a different title than white hats. It was not just a Reagan plan. Yes, Q is a psyop, but it's a white hat psyop meant to, one, cause people to seek truth, and two, torment, terrify, and disrupt the enemy. Thus, it is a successful operation, even if there were never another Q drop. Yes, and I've said many times, Q is a psyop, psyoping the psyopers. Fuck them. Brilliant. In spiritual terms, think of the war and the plan this way. The law of opposition is an internal principle. Lucifer has a plan, therefore God has a plan. God is working through chosen men just as he did with our founding fathers. There is no greater patriot than God. He would not leave us alone. The Q plan was absolutely necessary to steal the enemy's narrative and to disrupt their operations by introducing fear in them, by using the fear weapon against them. So the Q plan served its necessary purpose. We, the people, are awake, and we are fighting back. War is fluid because free will is always at play, and even the best laid Q plans are subject to free will. God is not a spiritual socialist. This is why we, the people, are his hands. Christ is the finisher of our faith, but he is the finisher after we first do all that we can as good stewards of this earth and our liberties. Final thought. The biggest problem in the Patriot and Truth movement is that there are lots of good people, but they have differing ideas about how things should be done. And also, each person has different levels of knowledge and experience and awakening. This is also the biggest advantage the enemy has over us. Money and power is not the enemy's biggest advantage. They're running out of money, though. It is our division. If Lucifer can damn the Q movement, truth movement, then he will have another win. So we should protect the good fruit that has been born of the Q operation. God works all things for his good. You're doing great work, Nino. Thank God, and God bless. And bless you for enduring my unsolicited notes from time to time, blah, blah, blah. That's for Nino. And then I think there's just this one from Lewis Herms. When God has purposed for you to do something significant, expect the enemy to send out his special forces. That might be why your life has been so hard. Not because God is not with you, but maybe because God is so distinctively with you. Maybe his plan for your life is so intimidating and threatening to the devil that there is no way he's going to let you ascend to your purpose without an attack. That might be why you are fighting right now. Author unknown, but isn't the true author God? Yes. Yeah, good. There you go. I'm done. So, that's another one done. I feel much better than I do did. What day is it? Wednesday, 4 days ago. Ivermectin. It's sorting me out. Day 3 today. I'm going to take 2 more days. Loads going on. Eyes on. Sorry the rumble feed didn't work, but I'll sort it out for next time. There's no one watching on that anyway. I prefer rumble to YouTube anyway. I'm gonna see if YouTube deletes this. It is, yeah, the feed's still going, lovely, and everything on YouTube. But let's see if they delete it when I finish. Anyway, I don't need to keep waffling on. I'm going to, I think, wrong button now. Let's have a look at that one. Saturday is Christmas Eve. So I'm going to do another one on Christmas Eve, but I might just go live when I fancy it because it's Christmas Eve. I'm not sitting about all day on Christmas Eve waiting to go live at 5. So I'll put a warning on the usual channels, Facebook, Telegram and that, if I am. Okay, where we go one, we go all. I love you all. I'll tell you what I can do, actually. Just go like that. Right, wicked. Catch you all around. Thank you.